In this video, I will talk about adding products to your WooCommerce store. So first, I recommend that you consider what you're planning on selling and think about the categories in which they would best fit. So I would start there with the categories, and then perhaps I'm going to delete that. This was for a different video, but you can do subcategories like I just had here. And you can quick edit the uncategorized to be perhaps merchandise if you plan on using this one much. But you can create as many categories as you want. So perhaps ebooks, audiobooks, merchandise, bundles, signed paperbacks, I don't know. And if you plan on having a lot of merchandise, maybe you categorize it based on whatever artwork theme you may have, because you may reuse the same logo or image on a t-shirt, on a tank top, on a sticker, on a whatever. The list is endless. Totally up to you, but I recommend you first consider how you're going to structure your store, how you're going to split things up. You can add as many categories and subcategories as you want and reorder those. Whether or not the categories themselves are visible will depend on your shop layout settings. Refer to a different video to talk about that. Let's say I wanted to offer signed copies. So I'm going to give it a name. That name is visible throughout the store in various places. You can leave the slug blank. It will self-generate, basically creating a version of your words here. No capitalization, no spaces. It will be dashes instead. If it is a subcategory, this is where you would select it. You could give it a description depending on your theme. It may or may not appear. And this is where I recommend you upload an image that is 600 pixels wide by 600 pixels high. If you've selected your shop layout to show categories instead of products, this is where that image would appear the first time people see it. So pick something that is representative of your category, and then you add a new category. The dimensions are my recommendations. Pick something different if you want, but for best layout purposes, I recommend you stick with consistent dimensions for your categories and product images so your site looks good overall. As mentioned in the shop layout video, if you want to reorder your categories, it's a matter of dragging and dropping them in this area here using the right handles and dragging and dropping with your mouse. Once the categories exist, then you'll be able to select them at the product level. Going back to products, I've already got those here. I could edit them. I could also quick edit them. That is useful to know for certain things like the product categories. You can also change the SKU, which is a unique code, depending if you set up items like merchandise and it's synced with the printer, then those will be self-populated. If you want to sell through BookFunnel, you need to create your own, but those SKU need to match what you have with BookFunnel. This is essential. There will be a separate video about BookFunnel on its own. You can also quick edit the price, whether something is taxable or not, if there's shipping, if it's visible, if it's in stock, if you want to manage it, if you want to feature it. So there's a lot of things you can quick edit, which is faster than loading the interface. And I'm going to cancel out of there and edit the individual book just so you see. And I will also open this in a new tab and edit it in this tab here, because the interface does not show you things in the order in which you expect them to appear, which is misleading. So first of all, as per all WordPress pages in the back end, if you click on screen options, you can decide to display or hide certain things. If you're using the Parallax for Writers theme, this would be selected by default and you don't need to play with that, so you can uncheck that. But otherwise, there's other things in here that you may or may not want to see. So feel free to check or uncheck those things. The section at the top and the section at the bottom are different. This one doesn't have anything here. I'm just going to say a bundle of 3 ebooks, just so you understand where this appears. I'm going to update this and then refresh the page. And notice that it's not anywhere up here. It is down here. It's very counterintuitive. So the thing that is at the top when you edit the book actually appears at the bottom. This is just, if it's an ebook, it's going to display all the other ebooks by default. So the categories are important. If it's swag, it would probably display the rest of the swag. It's based per category. That's how WooCommerce works. The title is what you named it here. So name it something clear and to the point. The price you would enter further down in here. So I'll go through all of those tabs because there's a lot to deal with here later. And then you see the image here. So the image, I typically default to 600 by 600. This is the product image. You also have a product gallery where you could add additional images. And let me just show you an example of that. So this particular product has additional images. So if I click on those, you see that it changes the top image. So these were entered as gallery images. If you wanted to manually set up additional images, this is where you could put them in. This product should not be on Facebook because it is a digital product, so I'm just going to delete it. Now the short product description, it's totally up to you what you decide to put on there, but it will appear at the top, below the price, above the add to cart button. And now you see some fine print, if you wish, the metadata for that product, like the SKU, what category it's in. It's possible there will be more, but this appears below the add to cart. This is the default layout. If you have a specific WooCommerce premium theme, it may list things in a different order, but this is the default layout. If you've got swag, you will have more than one tab here. For example, this one here, if I scroll down, there's additional information. It tells you how much it weighs. There could be another tab as well. If it's a shirt, for example, it may give you dimensions. It could also ask you for like the color you want, what size you want. And you can see the SKU here that was generated by Printful. The category is merchandise, but I have 3 tabs. But the description is something that I control and synced it on Printful, but you can edit it on this side here. And again, related products, I'm seeing swag because this is in the merchandise category. Now, the tricky stuff. You can tag it, you can select product categories here. The important stuff is in here. The product data, a variable product would be something like this shirt here. That is technically a variable product. So let me just edit the data. Not that you would edit the Printful data, but I want to show you how this one is set up. This is a variable product because under the variations, we have different sizes with different colors. This is a variable product. So an ebook is not a variable product. There's only one version of that, and that's what it is. It is a simple product. The rest, you will typically not use those things. For book funnel integration, you need to do virtual because this is not something that you ship, but you do not click downloadable. The price, just a note here, if you sell this ebook on other retailers, the price needs to match at all retailers. If your ebook is enrolled in Amazon's exclusive program, KDP Select, Kindle Unlimited on the front end, you cannot sell that ebook, part of a bundle or not, directly. That goes against the terms of Amazon's exclusivity agreement. This does not impact your paperback though. There's a similar agreement with audiobooks. If you've enrolled your audiobook in ACX's exclusive program, then you also cannot sell that audiobook directly on your site. So things will vary. Check your contracts. There is also premium plugins that you can add to your site that will let you restrict which countries you offer certain products in. So you can control that at the product level. If you have a complicated rights situation where you can sell directly but only to certain countries, you may want to get a premium plugin to help you do that. But the ebook price, according to my understanding, it should be the same at Kobo, Apple Books, Amazon, and your own website as well. This is part of the fine print when you upload your books. Keep that in mind. It's totally fine to offer a bundle at a discounted price if it's not available anywhere else. And you could also create a coupon code that gives your readers, I don't know, 10% off if they enter the coupon code and go through your checkout. That is fine according to my understanding. If something is taxable or not, you can put that in here. Inventory, this is where you would put in the SKU if you want to enable stock management. So if it's a printed product that you've got a limited amount of in your house, do make sure to enable stock management, and then you can change those settings in the overall WooCommerce settings. There was one global threshold for the entire store, but you can modify it per product, and you can play with the settings here. Linked products is if you want to upsell or cross-sell. You can start typing the name of another book, and then it will let you choose it, and this will appear in various places. Attributes is color and size in this case for a variable product. You're probably not going to have attributes in this case here. That's not applicable for an ebook or an audiobook. Under advanced, this is where you modify the menu order. If I look at all of my ebooks, they are appearing in this order. If I look at one of them here, in the bottom, they are appearing in this order. So if I change the order for individual books, this will impact the order of related products. So maybe I want this one to always appear first. By default, it will have 0, which comes before 1. Therefore, if you don't change anything, the zeros will appear before the ones. And then I could do this for my bundle and then do 2, 3, 4 for the other books if I wanted to modify the order in which they appear. You probably don't need to play with that, but if you wanted additional stuff, you could get plugins. For Facebook, I'm not syncing this particular product. I don't know why it did not match this, but I don't want this on Facebook because Facebook Marketplace does not let you sell digital products. So if you have something with variations, there's more information, but you typically don't need to mess around with that. So this is inventory. The SKU is not entered here because there's a SKU per variation. Shipping, this is something that if it is a physical product, you will have to enter a weight as well as dimensions in order for various shipping plugins to work. You could also assign different shipping classes. That's through WooCommerce settings, and then shipping. If you do this here under shipping classes, for example, if you've got a bookmark that you know can go in letter mail as opposed to a book that needs to, it's thicker, it's heavier, it's going to cost more, you can assign various shipping classes and assign different costs per item based on how much you think it's going to cost to mail that stuff. So this is where you would assign that shipping class. Disregard the size chart. That was all stuff that was included from Printful. I'll record a different video talking about Printful and how to create those products and include them on your site. You can also populate the Yoast SEO information to help you rank those product pages higher on search engines. You could also pre-populate the information that people will see on Facebook and Twitter. If you have the Yoast SEO plugin, this appears on all of your posts and pages. Yoast SEO is a very powerful and popular SEO plugin that is free. There's also a premium version if you are not satisfied with their basic features.